welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about how to plan out our programs. Now, this actually might be a little bit overdue, but better late than never. Now, so far, the programs that you've seen have been pretty simple, and it may seem like a little bit of overkill to sit down and plan any of them on paper. Now, that said, planning even the smallest program will usually save you time, energy, and frustration, and it's a good practice to get into from the beginning. It'll help you better understand where the steps come in what we're doing when we actually write our source code. Now, when you write a program, you're giving instructions to the computer. That works out a lot better when you plan out the instructions beforehand. Think about it this way. When a new building goes up, the building's architect gives blueprints to the contractor who's handling the construction. Now, those blueprints are instructions for how to put together that building, how tall to make it, where to put the doors and windows, what kind of material to use, and so on and so forth. Now, the architect could skip that step. They could not bother to draw it out, place things where they need to be placed on the drawings, and just start rattling off instructions to the contractor who's building it. But what would happen if they did that? Chances are it would take 10 times as long to build that particular construction, and it probably wouldn't get built the right way. It might not even be usable. There may be a door on the second floor and no doors on the first floor. The key is to plan beforehand, to draw out, sketch out what it is you want your program to do. Now, when you plan your programs out on paper, you're writing the blueprint for your program. Most programmers begin this with something called pseudocode. Pseudocode is a kind of structured English for describing algorithms. Remember that an algorithm is a solution to a problem. Pseudocode allows the programmer to focus on the logic of the problem, the logic of the solution, the logic of the algorithm, without being distracted by the details of the programming language syntax. This pseudocode will describe the entire logic of the algorithm, so you can then translate it line by line into source code. You start out by figuring out what is it you want to do. What problem do you need to solve? Then you write a plan for how to solve that problem. So let's talk about an example. Let's say that my problem is I want to make chicken Alfredo for dinner. I need a plan to accomplish that. So I come up with one and I put it in pseudocode. We can just do this in a regular text editor. And so we'll say, if I have all the ingredients, and I misspelled ingredients. Okay, if I have all the ingredients to make chicken Alfredo, then don't go to the store. Otherwise, I need to go to the store and buy the ingredients. Then I need to make the chicken Alfredo. I need to serve the chicken Alfredo and enjoy the chicken Alfredo. Okay, anybody can probably understand that plan, even if they've never looked at a C++ program. But still, it's got some real similarities to the programming we've already done, doesn't it? Here we have an if statement. Instead of else, we have otherwise, but those are synonyms. They mean the same thing. So basically, these first 5 lines are an if-else statement. After that, we say that we need to make it, serve it, and enjoy it. Now, that's our first draft. Your programming plan might be done after this, but it probably isn't. There's probably more detailed steps that you need to flesh out, and you'll usually have to make multiple passes at your pseudocode before you're ready to implement it into source code. Now we work on refining our pseudocode using stepwise refinement, which basically means make our pseudocode more detailed. For example, this line just says, make the chicken Alfredo. Well, there are additional steps to doing that, aren't there? If I wanted to flesh that out, I could say, cook the chicken fully, because we don't want anybody poisoned. Mix the ingredients for the sauce. Cook the pasta. This might not be in the right order. And then stir together chicken and sauce. Okay, and then as far as serving the chicken Alfredo, we would have additional steps there. We would need to get out plates and silverware. We would need to, and that makes me think of another step I have here. And make the chicken Alfredo, we have to drain our pasta. Okay, and serve the chicken Alfredo. Put a portion of pasta on each plate, and then pour the chicken Alfredo over the pasta. Then put the plates of food on the table. Okay, so that's a lot more detailed. That's probably enough to go on. Now, you detail each individual step for making it, serving it, and even eating it. And you keep refining and fleshing out your pseudocode until everything in it is clear and achievable, and you can see pretty clearly how to translate each step into C++. In our next video, we'll apply this to a programming problem and see how this works for an actual program that we'll be writing. So check back for that.